Cue the intro.
Kingdom Hearts 4 is still a real thing that exists. I'm sorry, I'm probably going to bring this up in every video I do. It's just as someone who has covered Kingdom Hearts 3 throughout its entire development, it's hard to imagine that there's more behind it. I mean, we knew, but wow, Kingdom Hearts 4? Like, to say it out loud, that feels a little cursed to me. Am I the only one who feels that way? Kind of like the PlayStation 6 and the Xbox 720. Anyway, there's not much known about the game and it leaves tons of space to speculate. Obviously, I could go into details about Kingdom Hearts 4 and its story, how Yozora is going to tie into the bigger picture after being the best secret boss in the series. But today's video is about reflecting on the rest of the Kingdom Hearts games. It got me thinking what features or mechanics I would like to see return. Obviously, I would love Kingdom Hearts 4 to give us new mechanics and new features, but there are obviously a handful of features that should remain. I think these are just so good they should return in the next entry. For starters, I need to talk about reaction commands. It's confirmed that they're returned in Kingdom Hearts 4, and I think that's fantastic. While mechanically, they're incredibly boring because all you do is press the triangle button, each reaction command has its own unique animation, and they were incredibly stylish. A lot of Sora's swagger from Kingdom Hearts 2 came from the reaction commands.
Swag.
The image of Sora slicing buildings into multiple pieces is drilled into my brain until the day I die. I'm so grateful to see them return in Kingdom Hearts 4 since it gives Sora a chance to be really flexible with his abilities. My only request is that they're a little more complicated than just press triangle. Using all 4 phase buttons as an option I think is an excellent start, as players will need to pay close attention rather than mashing. Imagine having to mash multiple buttons at once or enter them in a certain sequence. It was mentioned in an interview that Nomura added them back into Kingdom Hearts 4 due to fan request. First off, I think that's fantastic. Second off, the rest of this video should be taken into consideration, and obviously the comment section. Team, let me know, if you could have one feature return in Kingdom Hearts 4, what would it be? Maybe someone from Square Enix is watching the video and can bless us with that content.
Time for talking is over! It's time to push buttons.
Let's start with the obvious, the Colosseum. The Colosseum has been a staple in the Kingdom Hearts series from the very beginning. It acted as an extra location for players to use their abilities and take on waves of Heartless. In Kingdom Hearts 2, they just did it bigger with more cups to complete. When Kingdom Hearts 3 came around, everyone was eager to try out all these new KEYBLADE transformations and abilities in the new Colosseum, only to boot up the game and find out that there wasn't one.
No fanfare?
It's strange because Olympus has a perfect place at the top of it to put a Colosseum. Big shout out to the creator for putting this mod together in Kingdom Hearts 3. The mainline games were definitely missing something and hopefully it can return in Kingdom Hearts 4. It seems like Olympus is already returning with Donald and Goofy, searching for Sora in the underworld. Hopefully this just means we get another chance for the Colosseum to make a return. There's so many fancy abilities I'm sure Sora will have in Kingdom Hearts 4, and I just want a place to use them properly. Secret bosses are dope, but a Colosseum just felt right. I mean, how cool would it be if in Kingdom Hearts 4 they let you do the Colosseum online with friends? Like you and a couple of your favorite homies get to face off against Wave of Heartless together. We haven't had a real multiplayer Kingdom Hearts experience in a long time, and I don't think Kingdom Hearts 4 needs to be fully multiplayer, but combining the Colosseum as the multiplayer arena would be dope. It could even be the location where players can customize their own Keyblade armor, but I'm getting ahead of myself. The potential for Kingdom Hearts 4 just has me so excited. Obviously, it's hard to talk about Kingdom Hearts without mentioning Final Fantasy. It's been attached to the series for so long, but Kingdom Hearts 3 seemed to be that departure. A handful of Final Fantasy characters did make a return in Remind, but I hope that isn't the end. I would love Final Fantasy to have a much bigger presence in the next saga. With the inclusion of the real-world Quadratum, who knows what the possible world selection could be? Players can finally visit Midgar with Sora, Donald, and Goofy, but ultimately, I do want to make an entire video talking about that topic. Like, does Kingdom Hearts need Final Fantasy anymore? I think it'd be a fun video for the future. But for today's hopes, I'm praying for the Final Fantasy Super Boss. Sephiroth has been the main secret boss for the mainline entries, but once again, Kingdom Hearts 3 did not include that battle. Maybe in Kingdom Hearts 4 we'll get another chance to battle him, but if not, there's tons of other candidates to choose from. There's hundreds of different Final Fantasy characters out there to choose from. If I could pick one though, I'm definitely gonna go with Noctis.
Hate to break this up, but Kor's got the motor running. Drados, he's in your hands.
Me, on the other hand, I'm too much of a scaredy cat to ever take mine off.
First off, how insanely meta would it be to fight Noctis in Quadratum, especially with the entire Final Fantasy 15 versus 13 situation going on right now? You see Yozora and he plays a major plot in the story, and then there's Noctis that's a secret boss hidden somewhere in Quadratum. I'm telling you, people would lose their minds if Noctis appeared in this way. Plus, Noctis is dope and would probably put up an incredibly good fight. I guess I just miss Final Fantasy a lot in Kingdom Hearts. So many new games have come out since Kingdom Hearts 3 has released, but I'm getting ahead of myself, that's for another video. Next up, character customization and objectives. In Kingdom Hearts 0.2, players were able to extend their playtime by completing missions in the Realm of Darkness. These challenges not only counted towards completion of the game, but also unlocked cosmetics for Aqua to wear. Kingdom Hearts 3 not including something like this seems like an incredibly fumbled bag, and they can totally fix that in Kingdom Hearts 4. Mind you, I adore his outfit, but being able to add small customization options to Sora would be great. Especially with the real-world look of Quadratum, I'm sure Sora could find some incredibly fashionable fits. I'd also like to spend most of my time clearing out these objectives. I love checking off a box on a long list of things to do. Many might call it padding, but I really just want to dress my boy.
How do I look?
Put him in some Mickey Mouse ears and send him to Disneyland? Oh my god. So there's this traumatizing comic online of Sora visiting Disneyland. I don't remember who made it off the top of my head, but basically Sora visits Disneyland in Japan and none of his friends remember him. That's some real sad, depressing stuff right there. I still want Mickey Mouse ears though.
I have crippling depression.
Next up, and it kind of ties together with the last point, lucky emblems. While these were cool in Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm not sure how they would work in this new world because does Mickey even exist in Quadratum, you know? I'm more so interested in another collectible to grab while exploring the world. Kingdom Hearts 1 had the Dalmatians and the Trinity marks, Kingdom Hearts 2 added the sparkling crowns with its final mix, and I think Kingdom Hearts 3 is my favorite of the bunch. Some of these lucky emblems were so crazy well hidden in the worlds that it was pretty exciting to find them all.
Good luck, because they're not all this easy to find.
Mind you, I did cheat and use a guide, I'm not Superman, but I'm hoping Kingdom Hearts 4 has another big collectible. I'm leaning more into something like the Lucky Emblems where they're hidden throughout the world, but I just like collecting things while exploring. Next one might be my most requested thing on this list, to be honest. I just want Sora to get a job. Yes, I'm trying to put our uneducated island boy into the workforce. In older Kingdom Hearts games, players were able to take up jobs to earn a little extra money. Doing chores around Twilight Town was such a minor thing that went such a long way to make the world feel real. It was just a bunch of kids trying to earn a little bit of extra cash to go to the beach. I'm hoping if Sora gets a job, it ties into him learning responsibility with maybe a little fun minigame attached to it. Plus, Sora now lives in this gorgeous high-rise apartment in Japan. He just crashes on Strelitzia's couch. He's gotta find a way to support himself in this new world. I know it sounds silly, but I would love to see Sora use his Keyblade abilities to do simple things. Like what if Sora is a valet in Quadratum and the player needs to move cars out of the way using his Keyblade?
Well, I may be able to talk, but I sure as heck can't drive.
Job minigame, put my son to work, would love that. Next up, Wreck-It Ralph. Look, I don't care how, I don't care why, I just want it. A big budget Kingdom Hearts 4 version of Sugar Rush has been a dream of mine since Kingdom Hearts 3. Wreck-It Ralph is still my favorite film, and it hurts so bad to see it kinda used in Kingdom Hearts 3. Like, I love Ralph as a summon, but I only hope that means that there's more of him in the future. Kinda like how Simba was a summon in Kingdom Hearts 1 and then later became a full world in Kingdom Hearts 2. I know a full world is present in Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, but golly, let me tell you how badly that hurts. It's like the one original world in that game, and it had to be my favorite film. I just hope we can get the full treatment in the next game, or maybe one of the next mainline games. I just really want to hang out with Ralph and Penelope, maybe participating in a racing minigame within Sugar Rush, while taking down Candy or Sweet Theme Heartless. That's literally all I want. It could be the worst world in the game, gosh I really hope it's not, but I still want it to be there. So please, whoever's in charge of putting Disney worlds, let me see Wreck-It Ralph, please, please! Next one is kinda weird, but hear me out. So Kingdom Hearts games have their fair share of rhythm mini-games throughout the series, and honestly they range from painfully boring to okay at best. Then Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory came out, and I love how they handled it. The gameplay is super simple, but much more challenging and interactive on harder difficulties. I'm hoping if rhythm sections do return in Kingdom Hearts 4, they just use Melody of Memory's gameplay. I imagine reusing the stuff they already have is much easier than making an entirely new rhythm game thing. Like the gameplay would be exactly the same as Melody of Memory during those sections. Even if there's only 1 or 2 times this happens in Kingdom Hearts 4, use the Melody of Memory gameplay. They aren't doing much with that game now, so it would be so cool to see that mechanic make their way into a mainline game, especially if we're going to Frozen 2 to hold hands with Elsa and Anna while we sing Into the Unknown, which by the way, Into the Unknown from Frozen 2 is the best Disney song of all time. I will not be answering questions at this time anyway. Keyblade switching. Being able to carry 3 Keyblades at one time not only made the game much more convenient, it allowed for tons of interesting gameplay opportunities. You could build a combo with 1 Keyblade, switch, and continue with that one. Kingdom Hearts 3 didn't make it as snappy to switch between Keyblades as I would have liked, but I think that's just the beginning. I hope having the ability to switch Keyblades on the fly makes a return, but they make it so much faster. I want to be able to switch Keyblades mid-swing and create some really nasty combos. I think having 3 Keyblades is fine, but having any more might mix it up a little bit too much.
Let's see here. Keyhole, key lime pie, key to my heart, gorge, Florida keys, high key, low key, on key, off key.
I think it would be incredibly difficult to go back to 1 Keyblade at a time, especially with the push to make each one of them unique. Keyblade transformations might not be a thing anymore for Kingdom Hearts 4, but I do hope switching remains. And the last thing I want to see in Kingdom Hearts 4, something that I cannot live without, something that I absolutely need in order to purchase the game, skateboarding. Bring back skateboarding from Twilight Town.
You guys want to go skateboards?
I remember spending hours just running around the town doing tricks off buildings, and I would love to see how many spins I could do in the air before I landed on the ground. Mind you, this was on the PlayStation 2 and Twilight Town, and now we got the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, PC, platforms that are capable of making some of the most beautiful landscapes in gaming. How fun would it be to ride around Quadratum on a skateboard? Remember, Sora's in the real world now. He has to have some real world method of transportation. My man just can't be gliding everywhere he wants to. Maybe he could use a skateboard to get to his job at 7-Eleven. See? I'm bringing it back full circle. I just imagine how much fun it would be to ride around in that massive city, grinding on rails and drifting sharp corners. It's just a minor thing in the older games that made it feel so much more classic. How cool would it be if after you completed a Disney world, you're able to use the skateboard in that world? But like if I cleared Olympus, I now get to hang 10 with Hades and Zeus? Like, I want that so bad.
Skateboards.
Overall, these are things that I would like to see from older games return into the next saga. Kingdom Hearts 4 might not have any of these things and will truly start to build an identity of its own, and we won't really know for a long time with it being confirmed that it's not available at E3, but we might see it again at the Tokyo Game Show later this year. Do you hate this list? Do you love it? Is there anything you would like to add or change? I obviously want all of these things and maybe a few more that I can't think of at this exact moment, but let me know in the comments section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to comment, like, subscribe, and stay awesome.